creatures of the night. It's your girl Tati. Let's talk about AEW Collision. I appreciate everybody who tuned in to the watch along. Just when it seemed like everybody and their mama was watching Money in the Bank, a lot of you guys pulled up and showed your girl some love, and I appreciate that. We started off with MJF, who is here to explain about what he did to Daniel Garcia. Before he came out, they did show that heinous attack from our scumbag from Dynamite. And honestly, I loved it. I absolutely did. Now, he comes on out, and people are booing. They're not happy about what happened. And MJF, long story short, goes on to say he did what he did because of the fans. The fans who was rocking with him, loving him and everything when he turns out to be a good guy. And all of a sudden, the second he lost the title, they were dick riding Samoa Joe, loving Samoa Joe. They moved on in terms of who their champion is and kind of forgot him while he was at home doing rehab and physical therapy. And we moved on as fans. Now, I don't know about everybody else. I did move on. I've still been buying merch. I've still been talking about you, MJF. So I'm not in it when it comes to everybody else who moved on. Now, what I didn't like about this promo was that for like 3 to 4 minutes or so, they played a promo that MJF had did back in August. And for me, I was just like, well, why are we wasting time doing this? I felt like this is time that he could have been talking rather than having us remember things that he said back in August. Like, y'all spent a good 4 minutes on that. Like, MJF, they were showing back when MJF was pretty much opening up to the crowd about all these difficulties that he's faced as a Jew and him having ADD and all these things that was going on with him. And he's like, I open up to you guys and y'all just threw me away like trash. So he's back to being a scumbag. And then he goes to say, Daniel Garcia, you thought it was going to be me and you at all in? Are you fucking kidding me? And then he goes on to talk about how Ospreay, he's only here having great matches, but what is he doing in terms of the ratings? You know what I mean? Like in terms of having, the show having more viewers. And if it's anybody that's able to give the show more viewers and push the merch, it's MJF. And yeah, I agree with that, to a certain extent. And to open the show, I get it. They're on at the same time as Money in the Bank. So it was great to have MJF on. However, this could have been a lot stronger than what I was expecting. But man, he looks beautiful in purple and black. I mean, he just looked amazing. After this, though, we do have Pastor Briscoe backstage with Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly. Whatever the hell Mark Briscoe was saying. And then Orange Cassidy said he doesn't care. Whatever that's supposed to mean. They end up having a match with the Iron Savages. We do have the Undisputed Kingdom that are sitting with the commentators. And, they're watching Kyle O'Reilly. They're in support of Kyle O'Reilly. They want to be friends again. And Kyle is just not budging. Now, for this match, it's obvious. They end up leaving Orange Cassidy to pretty much stand there with his sunglasses on while Kyle and Mark Briscoe did pretty much all the work. And then they have him coming towards the end to, end up taking the win for his team. The match was okay. It's very predictable in terms of who wins here. But I also looked at it this way, that Iron Savages and Jack Jameson, they're in actual trios. We need to be building up the trios division. They rather build up single stars as a team rather than building an actual trios and make the trios division to be better than what it is. I mean, I do like Mark. I do like Kyle. Orange Cassidy, he's there. So I'm like, they're great and they're all great individually, but damn, Iron Savages, Jack Jameson, they're in actual trios. Let's build these guys up too. The trios division really, really needs it. After this, Jackson Perry, he is not on the camera, but you see the TNT title and you can see the silhouette of Jackson Perry, from behind the camera, but onto the plate of the championship. And I thought that was cute. I like the presentation of that. Basically, he's inviting somebody who's brave enough to come and face him for the title, for the Collision episode. And I was just like, okay, interesting. We'll get a chance to see who that is. And you guys wouldn't even believe it. If y'all didn't already see it on social media everywhere, who that person was. Really, really interesting. Jack Perry, I hope they are doing right by him. He's young talent. I know a lot of people don't necessarily care for him, but I'm watching to see what they do with him. He needs as much camera time. He needs to get as much time in terms of wrestling and doing promos. And I do hope that with this title on him, the company prioritize a young talent and see what they can do in terms of the future of AEW. Up next, we have Hangman, who's back there with Lexi Nair. And when I'm telling you, Hangman looked unhinged, okay? Lexi is interviewing him and wondering why, he's here. Why is, going through this tournament is important for him. And he's just like, he needs to win this match against Jay White tonight. He needs to beat Bryan Danielson because he wants to, go against him. I'm coming for him. Like, he keeps saying him, never saying Swerve Strickland's name. We know who he's talking about. And I'm just like, holy shit. And then the more that he's talking about it, the crazier his eyes look, the more wrinkles on his forehead. He just looks so upset about it. And I'm just like, Lexi, girl, get out of there if you want to make it alive. Now we have Trish Adora versus Toni Storm. And this was great. I really do enjoy these ladies. Predictability does kills it here. And Trish Adora is one of those girls who probably have one of the worst in terms of records for the women's division. And I was actually happy to see her get an opportunity to do her thing with Toni. But I would love to see her get more opportunities to win. Like, for real, for real. Toni Storm obviously takes the win here. And what was funny was Luther is standing there with his arms open to hug Toni Storm. And just when he thinks he's getting his hug, Mariah May just scoop on in and puts her face on Toni Storm's bosom. And oh my God, I'm telling you, our boy Luther was very upset. I could tell that he wants nothing to do with Mariah. I think it's really interesting. If Mariah did not win her match against Willow on Wednesday, don't be surprised if it would have been Luther of all people to cost her from winning. I know it sounds very far-fetched. Man, that would be interesting to see what would have happened if that did happen. But my pick is Mariah May to win the Owen Hart Cup. I think it's just better that way. Up next, we have the Patriarchy doing a promo. Christian's doing all the talking. Mama Wayne is standing behind her looking all cute. Nick Wayne with a face only a mother could love. And then we have Killswitch in the background just growling. Now, Christian is talking about the Bang Bang Gang and how they want to get their hands on them trios titles. And then he goes on to say how Jay White is a huge disappointment in AEW because he didn't turn out to be what people thought he would be when he signed with the company. And is he lying? I mean, like, for real, he's not lying. I expected singles titles. I expected for him to be one of the top guys in the company. And unfortunately, with Jay White, it just hasn't gone that way. Now, while he's talking about that, then somebody comes on, like, somewhere in the background, and Christian's like, what are you doing here? Then this person comes to the camera, and it's Kip Sapien. We haven't seen this motherfucker in God knows how long. And he goes and said, Christian, my daddy just died. And then Christian kind of really doesn't care about it. And then he ends up walking away and say, oh, I'm pretty sure your father was a loser just like you. And as he walks away, he stops and he goes, kill switch. Take his ass out, then Killswitch in the background. They never actually show it, but it sounds like Killswitch is killing Kip Sapien. Just like that, Kip Sapien has got his one time of being in front of the camera this year. Sad. So now we have Jackson Perry. He's in the ring and he's waiting for whoever this poor unfortunate soul is to come on out and go against him for the TNT title. Then we start seeing here on the big screen, it's Jurassic Express music hitting. And I'm just like, all right, well, Jackson Perry is not going to be facing himself. He's definitely not facing Luchasaurus. So who could this be? And then Marco Stunt, of all people. When I tell you, I could not believe it. I was like, what? Marco Stunt walks on over to the ring. He's standing in front of Jackson Perry. Marco looked like he in the third grade. Like, for real, he just looks so much smaller, so much shorter than I imagined. It's just like we haven't seen him in a long time. I remember, like, after he left, obviously there was issues in terms of renewing his contract or whatever. And I seen him doing a few couple of indie stuff, but other than that, I haven't seen him since. So I never even thought about this dude. So by the time he came out, the crowd seems to be really receptive of it. I don't know if it's not necessarily that they love him or anything, but that nostalgic feeling of seeing Marco coming out. And you have to be ballsy as hell, Marco, for you to come out and face Jackson Perry for the TNT title. Yo, this was a massacre. It really was. And I'm watching this, and like I said, the size comparison between the two of them, I'm just like, this looked like child abuse. The way Jackson Perry was beating up on him, and he looks like he's beating up on a little child. Absolutely wild. It was very, very interesting. The TNT title obviously been on the line. You think Jackson Perry's going to let this motherfucker beat him? Absolutely not. He ends up taking the win here. And it was interesting just to see him being there. And for me, I just was like, well, the foolishness is over and Tony Khan played a stunt with doing all this. I do feel like it would have been better to see Jackson Perry go against a much more credible opponent for his first title defense. But either way, really interesting to see Marco stunt. This will be the last when it comes to him being on AEW. After this, House of Black is doing the little backstage promo threatening the patriarchy. And I'm just like, well, who the hell y'all beefing with now? Like, it's just, I don't even really know. Like, whenever they're having issues with somebody, it almost seems like they kind of move on to someone else. And things are not feeling so concrete with the not the patriarchy, the House of Black. Sure, Buddy Matthews Sogal got taken out by the group. And now it's just the two of them, but they're still threatening the patriarchy. Okay, we'll see what happens because 2 people against 3, it's not adding up unless Buddy Matthews' little honeymoon is over. After this, we have a really cute little fun match here with the Beast Mortos versus Claudio Castagnoli. This was really good. And when I saw this earlier in the day that they announced that this match was happening, I was just like, oh my God, I don't know if my panties are ready. I was just so excited because I really love both of these guys. Couldn't really cheer for just one of them. I just knew that I was going to get a great match out of them. Not too long into the match, Beast Mortos somehow he accidentally lands onto the cameraman and both of them was laid out outside the ring. And for whatever reason, I'm like, cutie referee Brandon was there, but he didn't go check on Beast Mortos. Claudio comes out the ring and go check on the camera guy. And from there, Beast Mortos kept holding onto his knee. It seems like it was bothering him throughout the match. And despite that, they still wrestled a pretty entertaining match. And also, they were in Memphis. They did have a whoop that trick chant going on too during this match. And what bothered me more than anything is how quiet they were. And I just didn't understand that. For me, y'all, I say it all the time. I go to wrestling shows and I always lose my voice because I'm having a great time. I'm making noise. I'm showing support when I'm there. They were just way too quiet for me. And they don't realize, I think fans don't realize how that translate in terms for the people who's watching at home. When it looks like everybody in the fucking building is bored, it's weird. Now, Beast Mortos obviously doesn't take the win. Claudio takes a win with a fucking lariat. I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. I don't want to see no lariat for the win. Like, I'm over it. Over it. But it was a great match. I do recommend watching that. After this, we do have Matt Menard, who put his balls together and cutting a promo on MJF of all people, talking about how Daniel Garcia is back home in Buffalo. He will make a recovery. And that, oh, MJF, you lucky because I told Daniel that I'm going to let him put his hands on you first. And I said, lucky? What the fuck does that mean? Matt Menard, ain't nobody scared of you. Come on over and come get these hands. Now, Matt Menard got a big-ass bandage on his forehead. And he seems like very, very serious. And it's kind of hard to take him seriously because, honestly, real talk, if you felt some type of way about what MJF did to your little stepson, you should have went over there and whooped his ass. You did not a damn thing. You only got punched in the head one time. And you didn't do anything else in terms of helping Daniel Garcia. But you big and bad huffing and puffing in promos, bro, I'm over it. Now, he does go on to say that Daniel Garcia will get his hands on him, whether that's 6 months or 12 months from now. And it kind of made me feel like it's interesting that he used 6 months or 12 months in a way to insinuate that he's going to be gone for a long time. And that right there really implemented to me that Daniel Garcia is out this whole little storyline thing. This is definitely about Will Ospreay and MJF for sure. Up next, Serena Deeb do her little promo on Riho. Whatever she was saying, I'm bored. She's an amazing wrestler, but I'm not. There's a disconnect for real when it comes to her presence. Something about it. I don't know what it is. She be wearing them cocktail outfits, some little one-piece suits, and then she be having them big furry jackets. She got those braids that she's had on for like, I don't know, a whole month and everything. And then when she speaks, it's just like how she's talking about how she's the best. But it's just like, all right, you are definitely one of the best in the ring. But I'm not getting that thing that grabs me when you speak. She needs help in terms of promos, in terms of grabbing the audience. I don't know what it's going to take, but we need to work on that. After this, we do have Riho versus Lady Frost. Prayers for Lady Frost, who never wins, but she's so talented. I was just looking at this match, and I'm looking at Riho next to her, and I'm like, in real life, it looks like she couldn't beat Lady Frost, but somehow she actually does. She ends up winning, and at some point, somehow, some way, we're gonna get Riho versus Serena Deeb, and whenever that happens, I'll let you know. I don't think anybody's looking forward to it. Real talk. After this, we do have Shane Taylor Promotions. They back there with Top Flight and Action Andretti. And they're going to have a match next week. Shane Taylor, holy shit, he's lost a lot of weight. I'm just like, oh my God, I don't know what you did. If you're working out, bypass surgery, whatever it is, it's obviously working. So congratulations to Shane Taylor. He just looks amazing. But when they announced that this match that they're going to have, I'm just like, all right, Collision next week going to be bumping. Then all of a sudden, they're like, well, we'll see you on Rampage. I'm like, Rampage? What the fuck? Not what I was hoping to hear. Nobody's watching Rampage. More of y'all watching my Rampage review than Rampage itself. I would have preferred to see this on Collision. Now, somebody in the chat did end up mentioning about Anthony Ogogo being in this group. I have not yet felt like Anthony belongs in a group, but I also have not yet felt like he doesn't, because they really haven't done anything to really make you feel like the three of them is a group. Yes, you feel Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty as at least a team and like they're part of the same group. But Anthony so far, they haven't truly done anything for people to feel like this is a legit trios. So maybe this match might end up helping that group really feel like they're a whole unit. I don't know what's going to take. But Rampage of all things, Lord have mercy. After this, they replayed the whole Samoa Joe talking about he's going to kill Chris Jericho on Dynamite next week, and we're looking forward to it. We got bail money ready for Samoa Joe. I'm over Chris Jericho. Over it. Oh, and I did also realize this too, was that Chris Jericho has a really good chance of winning this match in terms of interference, because they took out Hook, they burned that little pretty face of his, so he might be hospitalized somewhere. And they also showed when Brian Keith so-called broke Shibata's arm, so he might not be able to interfere to at least help Samoa Joe in case, things get all crazy during that match. But it's a street fight. That means no disqualification. So y'all already know, Learning Tree and them, they got something up their sleeves with that. I don't know how well it's going to work out for Samoa Joe, but like I said, we got a bail money ready for Samoa Joe, because Joe is going to kill you, Chris Jericho. Now, main event, Hangman versus Jay White. Hangman comes out first, and then Jay White comes out with a Bang Bang Gang. They all happy to be together, ringside, cheering on Jay White. But then Bobby Cruz get on the microphone, and he's saying the EVPs told the Bang Bang Gang, is obviously except for Jay White, to get the fuck up out of here. We don't want no distractions. We don't want no interference. And I was just like, okay, interesting. And then you can see Hangman look concerned about that. You can see him mouthing the words, what the fuck, like seeming to be a little bit angry about that. But then at first I was just like, well, what's it to you? These guys are not going to be able to cost you the match. But then I thought about it and I was like, well, Hangman would obviously think that's weird because he don't associate with these losers anymore. So why the hell are they saying that people can't be ringside? Now, match continues, and during picture-in-picture, Hangman busted open full of blood. And you guys know, in terms of Hangman and Jay White has won against Hangman 4 times already prior to this match. So Hangman needed this win. Matter of fact, I dare say Hangman needed this win clean. So match continues, and it's neck and neck. At first, it kind of seemed like Hangman was, getting the best out of Jay White. But then, things start going more towards Jay White's favor. And I'm kind of a little bit worried for Hangman. I know a lot of people not wanting to see Hangman win this so that he doesn't go against Swerve, possibly at All In. But then again, I'm looking at Jay White and I'm just like, oh my God, Jay White versus Swerve. Jay White and Swerve having a feud. I would love to see that. Look at us writing out Brian as if he's not even in this. But really great match. However, all of a sudden, here comes Jeff Jarrett, who obviously got no retirement home to be at, comes on over into the ring after the ref got bumped. This is not even a bump. The ref got lightly pushed, and for whatever reason, he thought he was crossing the other side. And I'm just like, come on. Like, you're near death after getting pushed. This is wild. And, Jeff Jarrett comes into the ring, and obviously this is to help, not necessarily to help Jay White, but he got a bone to pick with Hangman after losing his match against Hangman and not being able to advance into the tournament. And just when you think that Jeff Jarrett handled business, then here comes our stepdaddy Christian that comes out and take out our boy Jay White with a spear. And then here comes Hangman, who goes on and taking advantage with a buckshot lariat, wins the match. And I am not happy about that. I don't mind Hangman winning. I wanted this to be clean. There was a way for our stepdaddy to get involved. However, outside the match, like Christian literally could have beaten up Jay White after the match. The whole patriarchy could have gotten there and beat him up. Jeff Jarrett, even though I understand he had that match with Hangman the other day, it still kind of felt like, what the fuck are you doing here? You know what I mean? It should have been clean. I personally feel like it could have been clean. But whatever situation is, Hangman does advance. On Wednesday, he's going to be going against our American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, and I'm looking forward to it. That's definitely going to be the main event for sure. And man, people are either going to be really happy about who wins or really, really upset about it. And I can't wait to see. Dynamite seems like it's going to be a really great show. Thank you guys for watching my review. I'll see you guys for the next episode. I love pro wrestling. Can you tell?